Hey guys, welcome to my food channel, The Vegan Cook's Passport, where I aim to cook a vegan version of every national dish in the world. So it's week 6 and the country is Antigua and Barbuda. Sounds like two countries, but it's not. Let's find out where it is. Antigua and Barbuda is a two-island nation in the Caribbean. So you've got Antigua, the slightly larger island here, and Barbuda, which is tiny just here. The nation was under British rule until 1981, but most of the inspiration for the cuisine seemed to come from West Africa due to the transatlantic slave trade. So the national dish of Antigua and Barbuda is called PEPPERPOT. It originated from Guyana, which is in South America. It's made in a lot of different places all over the Caribbean. It was a little bit difficult to get the exact recipe for this because it seems that every nation within the Caribbean has got their own version, and not only that, every household within every nation has got their own version of PEPPERPOT. So let's break down PEPPERPOT. So peppers is obviously one of the main things we need, specifically Scotch bonnet peppers. So Scotch bonnet peppers, also known as bonnet peppers or Caribbean red peppers, they've got a slightly sweet taste. They're also very, very spicy. Some of them can be up to 100 times spicier than a jalapeno. I know a jalapeno isn't a particularly spicy pepper, but just to give you a comparison. So that's where the pepper bit is coming from that pot, is from these little bad boys. If you can't find these, you can also use habanero, which do look quite similar. The habanero is not quite as sweet and not quite as spicy either, but it's probably the next best thing if you can't find the Scotch bonnet. That's the pepper bit of the pepper pot. So what about the pot? Sounded like a rap. Wasn't meant like that. The pot basically just means everything cooked in one pot. So there's a whole load of ingredients that they use usually. Traditionally it's made with scraps of meat and the bones and things like that. To replace the meat part of this dish, I'm going to be using my, my vegan version of bone broth, which you can find in a separate video just here. If you want to just use normal sort of vegetable broth, go ahead. If you've got your own broth or stock recipe, then you can use that. I find that this is delicious and it gives a whole load of flavour. If you want to put the time in, it takes about 6 hours to make, but you can make a lot. Freeze it, make it in bulk, use some of it for now, freeze some of it. It's great stuff. Check out that video if you're interested. And then we've got a lot of vegetables to go in that. The vegetables seem to vary a lot depending on which recipe you look at, which household you'd go in. Almost all of them seem to have pumpkin, which I'm using. There was also something which I couldn't actually get hold of in Melbourne at this time of year maybe, which was a yam or a white sweet potato. So I've gone with your standard golden potato. The white sweet potato, it would kind of look similar to this as far as I can see, but the flesh would be white. So obviously for this one, you've got that sort of golden flesh that you're probably quite used to. If you can find a white sweet potato or a yam, which would be white in there, kind of like a standard potato is, you could use that. You could also use a potato, but I kind of prefer sweet potato anyway for something like this. It's also more nutrient rich. Potatoes don't give you a whole load of nutrients. Nothing against potato, I just think sweet potato is a bit better. Another key ingredient I came across was something called pigeon peas. To be honest, I'd never heard of pigeon peas before. I've done some research. It seems that they're pretty widespread across Africa, Asia, Latin America. News to me, but then I thought, okay, what is a pigeon pea? Well, it seems that it's a little brown pea which when hulled and then split turns into the green pea. So green split peas I'd heard of before. Didn't know that they were pigeon peas. If I'm wrong with this one, apologies. Leave a comment below if you've got any more information about pigeon peas versus split green peas. But for now I'm going to be using these in the recipe. You don't need to soak or rinse them, and because they've already been hulled and then split, all of that work of pre-soaking and splitting the peas yourself, it's already been done for you. So PEPPERPOT is traditionally eaten with fungi. So fungi is something we came across last week when I did Angola.
It seems that fungi would have come across to the Caribbean with the transatlantic slave trade began in the 15th century. So Antigua and Barbuda have got their own way of making fungi. For a start, they use cornmeal or polenta, not corn flour like they would in West Africa and Angola. Second of all is the addition of okra, also known as lady's fingers. These funny looking little things, which should give a little bit more flavour to what, to be honest, is a slightly sort of bland food, if you like, the fungi. I'm going to be interested to see what it tastes like with the addition of these. But fungi, just like Angola, I think it's pretty much just a way of getting carbs into your meal. Of course, there's loads of other ingredients, loads of other veggies that we're going to be chucking in there. I've tried to make it as authentic as possible, going on the information I've had. Of course, we're not using any meat, so we're taking away that authenticity from the meal. I've obviously not been able to get some stuff. I might have got some stuff wrong, so apologies for that. But I've done my best. As always, at the end of the video, I'll give you a little wine pairing suggestion to go with it. So let's get cooking.
Add a glug of olive oil to a large pan on medium-high heat. Then add 1 sliced onion, 4 cloves of minced garlic, and 2 chopped Scotch bonnet chilies. Fry for 5 minutes, then add 2 teaspoons of ground allspice, 3 cloves, 2 teaspoons of sweet paprika, 1 heaped tablespoon of tomato paste, 1 tablespoon of fresh chopped thyme, and a can of chopped tomatoes. Fry for a further 5 minutes, then add 1 cup of green split peas and 4 cups of vegetable stock or broth. Season to taste with salt and pepper, then bring to the boil and simmer on a low heat for 15 minutes. Chop 1 kilo of pumpkin into bite-sized chunks and add to the pan. Then do the same with half a kilo of sweet potato. Top up the pan with water if the veggies aren't fully submerged, then pop the lid on and simmer for 10 minutes. Next, add 2 tablespoons of chopped chives and 1 aubergine cut into chunks. Pop the lid back on and simmer for a further 10 minutes or until the aubergine is fully cooked. Finally, add 2 handfuls of fresh spinach, switch the heat off and stir through. Taste the soup, and if you need to season, do so. That's it, the pepper pot is done. Onto the fungi. Take 1 cup of cornmeal and gradually add 1 cup of cold water. Mix thoroughly until it forms a paste. Next, add 1 cup of water to a pan, add salt and bring to the boil. Chuck in 4 finely sliced okra, then gradually add the cornmeal paste, stirring as you go. Turn the heat down to low, then keep stirring the mixture for around 15 minutes. You'll know when it's ready when the fungi stop sticking to the side of the pan. Use a wet spoon to serve the fungi as a side dish to the pepper pot.
Boom! Here we have it. Caribbean cooking made vegan. Antigua and Barbuda, the national dish. We've got a vegetable pepper pot and fungi with okra. Let's give it a little try. I'll try the pepper pot first. Oh, so much flavour. I don't think I've tried anything like that before. That is hella spicy as well. I only used 2 of those little chilies. I mean, this is a dish for 8 people. I used 2 of those chilies. That is on the upper limit of what I could handle spice-wise, and I love spicy food. I'd say 1 of those chilies, if you're not a big fan of very spicy food, would be fine. 2, 3 would be insane, I think. But the other thing is you get a sweetness from those chilies as well. It's quite a unique flavour. You get a lot of spice, but the chili itself has got a lot of flavour. It's not just spice overriding that dish. The peas as well, they add a lovely texture to it. There's loads of different vegetables in there too. The stock, the broth we used has got so much flavour as well. That dish is packed full of flavour. I'm gonna try the fungi on its own and then with the pepper pot. Just grab it with your hands, chuck it in your mouth. Yeah, I don't think that's really meant to be eaten alone, but it's not as bad as I thought. It's not as bland as I thought it would be. So I added a fair bit of salt. The okra is giving it a nice little sort of vegetal sort of taste. Let's try it with the pepper pot. Get a bit like that. Chuck it on the spoon. Let's get a nice bit. Oh, yeah. The combination's very good. You've got this starchiness. Starchy, sort of gelatinous fungi going well with that spicy pepper pot. This is a great dish. I really love it. I don't think I've even ever eaten Caribbean food before. But this is great. In terms of what you drink with this, beer I think would be great, like a nice refreshing lager or whatever beer you like. I think would go great with this. Rum, obviously Caribbean rum would be perfect, like a really nice dark Caribbean rum on its own, or like a rum punch would be great, especially if you're doing like maybe a dinner party with this. If you did a nice rum punch, perfect. Wine, this is difficult because spicy food with wine is quite tricky, especially with red wine, but I'm going to go for one. I'd say a Chilean Carmener. If you haven't drunk Carmener before, it's an interesting variety, originally from France, but Chile's pretty much the only place you'd find it now. It's a bit like Merlot. It's sort of quite fruity and plummy. The tannins are quite soft, which is really important with the spicy food. So if you've got really austere, high tannins, that clashes with the spicy food. But I think that sort of fruity Chilean Carmener could be quite an interesting one to go with this dish. But whatever you want to drink, have it with this. It's going to taste great. And if you like this video, please click like, subscribe to my channel, and tune in next week where I'll be cooking the national dish of Argentina. See you later.